Okay, people, we're back in Maya. Let's do this. Okay, so let's just go over a few things here that you need to look out for if you're gonna be doing rigging. I just froze for a sec. All right, so the naming takes you a long way. So like naming things and setting up the materials could really break your rig when you reference it later on. So in order for us to actually begin, is the naming is the part that you will struggle in a lot, because like not only the naming of the items here in the outliner, but also in the hyper shader. So you have a material name, and then you have a shader group, or basically, you know, this is the main name. Back then, Substance Painter used to use this, and let me just show you how the character looks like, so you don't actually not like the colors. So this is the render version of that character. But however, when we work with it like this inside of Maya to avoid texturing issues, because you might lose your texture after you're done rigging. We would reference the model without textures to rig. We never use a texture model to reference inside of our animation scene. We don't want to do that, because Maya eventually is going to break it for you, and it's nothing wrong with Maya doing that. Is just the fact that when you're referencing files and then you're adding animation, you know, it's just too much information going on that eventually is going to lead into setting a default material. The default material of Maya is green. So if you're and not that kind of green, like very, very tough green, you won't be able to work with your rig anymore because of how tough that green is. And you can't change it either. So here's like a few hints that can pay off in the end. So when we use this, we're gonna clean up this project, this scene, and we're gonna call it name of the character underscore model or mesh. And that would be the mesh that is going to be referenced inside of our rig creation scene. And then the rig creation scene is going to create us a binary file. And that binary file is the file that we're going to use to animate with, just in case we need to animate things with it. There's a lot to cover, so that's why it's kind of like hard to know where to start. But I'm going to go ahead and, you know, compress this video into maybe a 2 hours video, and then cut all the nonsense from it. Alright, so first things that you would notice is that the Lambert is always gonna be there. And sometime, even though you don't have anything assigned to it, Maya for some reasons feels like anything that is inside this scene should be attached first to this material, and then is going to be overridden with other materials. So most likely your character inside of Substance Painter is going to recognize this material. So that's an issue that you should be aware of. So my recommendation is that you would need to, before you do anything, look, select all your character, assign a material to it. And you're saying like, hey, this is a rigging tutorial, why am I watching things about materials? Well, is because once you rig, it's too late for all this. You can't change any of this after you're done rigging. You're gonna have to work with an ugly looking model for the rest of your life. Because you can't fix it unless you're gonna re-rig it again. Basically you have to unbind and rebind, and then if you try to rebind, most likely you would lose your skin weights unless you back it up through the deformation tools, or if you download some plugins or some shit. But Yeah, so you should be aware of how you set up your materials. The flatter the material are, the better your rig becomes later on. That's why the character looks that kind of weird looking. Basically a color ID map character inside of Maya. We don't make it look pretty. We just make it look flat. No textures, nothing. Once you have this configured, you have so many ways of like using human IK. You have, of course, advanced skeleton. You have the Unrealengine plugins. You have X gear, or is it X gear, or not really sure what is it called. I think it's called X gear. 1 second, let me actually look that up for you guys. Called X gear, I think. Maya plugin. Yeah, or Gear X. Yeah, I might not know the name, but I will share it later on in the comment, just in case, so that way I would yeah, M gear, I'm sorry, it's called M gear. It's it's a firmware for rigging. It's really good. I heard a lot about it. Never used it, but it's promising. Really good. Looks promising. But if you really want to stick to what has been developed for years before M gear and before anything else, it was Advanced Skeleton. Advanced Skeleton is a great plugin. It could help you speed things up. So the first thing we do is clean up the model, right? Just to make sure that we don't have any textures, assigned to it. So the guy is pretty well knowledged with rigging, and he created a tool for you to save you some time here that would disconnect, any textures and just bring you the models flat with just base material assigned to it, just like this. But it's not going to assign the materials for you. You still have to do that on your own. The color referencing is going to be green, which he's not going to organize it for you either. So you're going to need to know, okay, so for example, this is a character body is using this kind of UVs, right? Okay, so those are the UVs that are used for this body. However, for his nails, okay, is this it's a different UV set. So we move it just to the right, just to make sure that we're giving ourselves some space. The game engine can understand that. It's fine. So you gotta like organize it and then color define it for yourself so you can see all that stuff. This is your job. No one is going to do that for you. Make sure that you smooth anything. Make sure that you have no history connected to this model once you save this file. Once you have finally saved that file, okay, what we're going to do is something unorthodox with this. We're going to save this as, so we're going to optimize the scene just to, make sure. And we're going to save this. Export, or no, save as, save scene, save scene as, and then we're gonna kind of like come with a better naming here. Let's create a brand new folder. We're gonna call it Gen, just for Genesis, right? It could be a male character, it could be a female character, it doesn't matter. Okay. Now we're gonna create, actually before we do that, if you'd like to work with how Maya likes to work, you would need to first of all set a project. So we're gonna set a project in Gen, set it. It's gonna ask us to create default workspace, and then when we try to save things in it now, is going to look different. Actually, we didn't set the workstation. So project workstation, and then you accept. So now if we try to save scene as, it's gonna look different. It should look different. Wait, set project, come on now. Okay, all right. Did I miss something? Yeah. No, this is good. Unless something is wrong with let's see. No, it's actually showing. We just can't see it for some reason. Okay, gen, and then under scenes, we're gonna create a folder, and we're gonna call it mod for models, right? This one is gonna contain our Genesis male character. Okay, we can call him ID or whatever. We're just gonna say underscore mesh. Okay, this is gonna be our gen male underscore mesh. Okay, it's gonna be this folder. Now we're just gonna reset the Maya for us. It's gonna be empty. Okay, and we're gonna use something called the referencing editor. Okay, my workflow is different from most, and you would like it once you start modifying animations and fixing animation. Every character that you do is going to need to have a control rig. That's why most of the game animations that you guys retarget inside of game engines are shitty looking, because of the fact that you guys don't have control rigs that allows you to modify each animation for that character. Each character has to have a unique look to it. So let's go ahead and reference that MA file. And guess what? We have the model in the scene as a reference. So we cannot modify it, we cannot edit it, we cannot do nothing. Why is this a good workflow? Because let's say, for example, I wanted to change something to the character, I would be able to open that geo file, which is the male underscore mesh file, and then I can modify it, and then it would automatically update on this project. Okay. The problem is that if you had any textures are referenced in this file, is going to break once you try to modify, and that's why we don't use textures inside of the mesh model. The mesh model stays without no textures, make it easier for Maya to kind of reference like the materials, the default materials, and hopefully if you modify the character, it doesn't turn into the green hook. We call it the green hook effect, which is you're going to eventually have to face it. And the more you work with your skeleton, I recommend once you rig it, save it, don't ever open the file ever again, and just only use the binary version of it. Try to get your modeling done as much as possible so you don't have to modify anything into the character, like maybe add clothes and whatnot, but like keep your naming the same for these. So consider them frozen for now. We're not going to use them ever again. Once you have done that, we have referenced the file in here. So this is just a reference. We're going to save scene as this time. Outside of the mod folder, we're going to create a rig folder. Okay, and then in the rig folder, we're going to call it what was the name that we use? Gen male, and it doesn't really matter like whether you used like you don't have to name them really, because all characters are like, unless you have Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, and you really like to name them, just it really doesn't make a difference when it comes to animation. We're not really we're not looking at that direction. Here's the thing though, we're gonna use to make this look nice, because this is gonna be two versions. It's gonna have the MA file and the binary file. I'll talk to you guys about this all the way in the end of the two videos that we're going to make here. So this is gonna be just a simple gen mail. This is the rig folder. Okay, we're gonna have 3 versions of this, so we're just gonna keep the name simple. Okay, so we're gonna have the MA, the binary, and then the underscore animations. We'll see. All right, so let's save this inside of the rig. Of course, it's a rig file, right? and then it just references the mesh, you know, which we named it very good, you know, mesh underscore and then mesh, you know. We could probably remove the mesh if we want, since we already know, but the problem, you're gonna have like the same name for everything, which is, it's fine, it's not a big deal, but I just wanted to make a point here, is that if that's the case, if that's what you want, you can do that. So I can basically yeah, because since we have already underscore mesh, we could do something different. We could rename this dot ma, and just let's remove the underscore. Okay, now if we open this, it's gonna look the same. We just remove the underscore mesh. I just wanted to prove a point, but we're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to redo the thing that we did again, which is reference, and then we're gonna get that ma, which is just a mesh. Okay, we just remove the mesh from it because it has underscore mesh inside of it anyways, right? I named it this way to begin with, so it's just make sure that once you stick to that workflow, you never change it. Like, it's based on the character. Sometimes when you have like gen mail, you have to like come up with different naming, you know. So the first name is up to you, but like having a mesh underscore, that is just a reference to maintain like any rigging stuff away from the naming. So for example, if I look up mesh underscore, I would find all the meshes in my scene, rather than having, because you can have like a massive scene eventually with like a bunch of animation layers, so you really have to structure the folder and the naming more than actually rig. This is what's gonna really bother you, is the naming. But as far as the rigging, is straight workflow, and it's pretty easy. We have so many plugins in Maya. Maya is very powerful. Yeah, it's undeniable. The power is undeniable. All right, so let's go ahead and save this again, save scene as, but this time we're gonna go inside of rigging, and we're gonna save it. So now we have this, you know, this character referenced. You know, our scene is pretty clean, so pretty much I have nothing in my scene. So let's say we want to have you know, a rig for this character. So first of all, let's go ahead and grab like all the clothes, you know. We can now do that on here. Can we switch to rigging? Where is my why does it look like that? Okay. So I don't have any thing here. Where is my folder? Oh yeah, it's right here. Sorry, couldn't see it. All right, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna select all the clothes, right? Let's just select everything. We select the skin. However, the teeth, eyelashes, and ears. Is it ears? No, this is the eye. Spelled it wrong. All right, yeah, don't look at that. All right, and then yeah, clothes. So let's go ahead and add this and hide it. We don't need it right now because it's going to be easy to rig once we have the character rigged. Okay, we could even hide it. Okay. So for us to do this, we're going to need to create some skin clusters. Okay, because like that's like I found this to be the best way. We're going to be rigging the left side of the right side of the character, left side of you. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna come in here, and since this Genesis is beautifully rigged, we can decide where exactly the cluster is going to be. If you look at that loop that I picked on the shoulder, you could tell that this is where the rotation needs to happen, because we'll either have this one or that. We don't have a lot of choices here. And then I think the middle one would be nice because you have like one loop, one loop, one loop. So I'm guessing they want us to pick this one. We shouldn't be doing this, but you know, I'm just showing you. Okay, so now we have that skin cluster. We need one for the neck too, right? So from the look of it, like this neck has an edge loop also here. which is it could be used for, you know, like having the neck go all the way down kind of thing. We actually have multiple edge loops in this area, so we can like pick the middle one. Actually no, we were right. Okay, we're gonna only pick this one, and then we're gonna press G to create another one. Same thing here. We're gonna actually need it in that area, so for this one we might go off the book. Okay, we're just gonna go off the book for that one. You could even do this one, like if you want, but you're gonna have to redirect it at one point. So just because we don't care, we're gonna create it here. Okay, so now we have the neck. The spline is the same thing. We're gonna basically create one like that. You know, the farther you go away from the chest, the better, because like you still want to maintain this area flat as much as, like not flat but stiff as much as possible. Is up to you. All right, so let's go ahead and create another one. And by the way, when we're let's just do the one on the hips first. So we're gonna select the hips, right? And we're gonna create it, and then from here to there we need 2. So we need to kind of count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Oh, there are 12. Okay, so we're gonna do 6, so 3, 3, and 3. So we should have 4. So bam, and this one's gonna be bam. Now we have those splines in place. And by the way, they're just placeholders. They're not really anything. We're just placing them to know how do we rotate. Okay, so for this one, because it has 2 edge loops, we're gonna add the clusters in between. G. Okay, same thing for the hand. It looks like we have multiple to choose from. We're gonna go with where the bone is. G. Okay, I would do the fingers, but like usually I skip that process and just rotate the whole hand in place, and then you'll see. So we're not gonna do the fingers because we don't care, but the legs and the hips and whatnot, we're gonna have to do that. So let's see here. Nice. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so we're gonna do this by going to the front view and deselecting this hat part. Okay, now we get the center of where the cluster should be. Okay, G. Okay, this is some old OG stuff, guys. I'm 35, so I'm like, I learned this long way back. So people don't do this. They just move joints, and then they wonder why my character is running funny. You know, this is why. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the same thing here. G. Between 2 edge loops. And last but not least is where the bone is. G. Okay, so those skin clusters are great, right? Like we could even group them and call them remove me later. Okay, yeah. All right, so now what? Let's save. Okay, and let's go ahead and start placing bones. This advanced skeleton thing is pretty cool. It could help us. So let's go ahead and see how. Okay. There isn't really a workflow because all my files are not on this computer, but I would be able to basically do everything from scratch with you guys, so you guys could see what I'm doing here. Those are the default I have. I don't have any custom scripts. I don't have nothing in here. So I'm basically working off the book with you guys. There's nothing special on what I'm doing here. Okay, so let's go ahead and import a skeleton to fit it. So we're going to import this skeleton, which is a pretty basic skeleton for, you know, it's a biped by advanced skeleton that eventually is going to be converted into a game engine rig. Let's go ahead and do a few things here. First of all, where is my menu? Okay, all right, and then we're just gonna snap the joints. First of all, let's disable snapping to mesh, so we don't click on mesh at all. And we're gonna do something pretty cool. First of all, we're gonna grab this whole thing right here, you know, and we're going to place this bone right here. Why is it not being placed correctly? Okay, so I need to disable the character because it's actually interfering with my selection. If we could have it like that, that would be nice. Why can't I? Oh. Okay. It's time for us to use a different color. Alright, let's see here. Okay, so we have this, right? Yeah, it's working. So what's going on? Right here, and then boom. Okay, it wasn't working earlier, I swear. Okay, and then we're also gonna do the same thing here. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward, right? It's just click and drag kind of things, which is cool. This one we don't care about. We're just gonna kind of like move this up and then move this to the side. So now we have the same height as this, okay? All right, we could even like lower it a bit, but that's not a problem. Let's just select this, and then we're gonna do the same thing, you know, like that, and then do this. Just make sure that you're snapping here, and this, okay? We can rotate this later on, okay? We don't care. We do not care. Okay, so here's the problem. We did this right, but the splines are not matching up with where it needs to be. So we're gonna press D and kind of like place them like that. Boom, boom, and then this one is gonna be boom and boom. Okay, so we got that done. Same thing for the neck, but the neck we're not gonna use D. We're gonna just go back to what we were doing, you know, originally, and we're gonna move it here, the head, move it here, and then the eyes. We're gonna just eyeball it for now because we need to create a skin cluster in here. I think actually I would grab, if I'm lucky, I would grab the whole thing and then create it. I wish I created a button for my skin cluster. Now I have to find it again. Okay. Skin cluster in the eyes, and grab the joint, move it, and snap. Okay, yeah, definitely mesh needs to be hidden. Let's add selected. Let's remove layer, and now we can just hide everything. Okay, so we're just gonna move this and snap. Okay, so we got the eyes in place, right? We got everything in place. Okay, just the jaw. So this should be straightforward. So we're just gonna move things. Hopefully we don't have any X movements. So that X movements for the jaw, it needs to be zeroed out. Okay, so you kind of like need to do that on your own and understand that neck areas and what. Why can't I move? Oh yeah, so it's already locked for you on the Z. Because here's the thing, we're moving. We should also move based on perspective. So is the X is already locked. So in some scenarios the X is always locked, which is great, but it wasn't for that scenario. My scenario, I had some value on the X value. So because it's joint oriented, but if we press the fit mode, we will get the corrected orientation here for the joint. So now the joints are oriented, but we shouldn't even do that right now. So let's turn it off, okay? And just kind of like rotate the whole thing in place first, because it's going to try to keep orienting and it might mess up the value for good. We don't want that. Okay, so let's just do this. Okay, we're just moving things in place. We're not really doing anything special. Moving them in place where they need to be. Yeah, don't do too much move or rotation. Okay, just move everything in place first and then rotate. We don't want to go a lot. We don't want to add a lot of offset that is not necessary, because yes, it does automatically orient, but it automatically orient based on the original rotation. So that means the value stays, but it is oriented automatically for you. So why would you need to add extra value that is not necessary? That is just dumb. Don't do that. Okay, now that we have everything in place, we can come in and be like, okay, this finger, needs to be here. This finger needs to be here. This finger needs to be here. And now that finger definitely needs some rotation, right? Okay, but let's do the thumb first so we can understand. So the thumb is going to be more like in this section, like deep in the middle, and then this one is going to be like right here. This one is going to be, we could start moving now, like it's okay. It's not a big deal, and it's going to automatically orient for us. We could have rotated. So another way of doing this to save some value, we would rotate. So you would rotate this like that, and it would automatically understand that this is what you want. And we don't have to mess up the value too much. We could also change this to an object mode, so that way we don't have to work harder, on changing values and whatnot. And now that we did this, we could come in here and okay, so now we have this right here, and we could also benefit from that movements to help us give us better orientation. Okay, so with this finger is done, let's move to the next. We can press the down key to help us kind of orient. We're not going to do a lot of orientations as far as rotations from this point forward. We're just going to press the down key on this button. Okay, so that would be it. We only rotate the main one, orient it to how it needs to be rotated, and then start pressing the down key to move things in place where the bone should be. Same thing here. Start rotating. press W and keep doing it. It's really fun, but you know, like as long as that you don't have to redo things over and over, you know, like that's the annoying part. Like if you make a mistake and then you would come back and you would have to ruin everything you did just because you were too lazy to do it right from the first time. All right, so we're good here. Let's do that auto fit again. Okay, so now we should have everything pointed upward. You see like how the Z is always pointed up? That's how it should be. You see? Okay, and that's how the finger is going to rotate. Okay, see? And boom. Okay, and boom. And boom. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so the Z-axis is turning as we go along. We can press Z and just move this a bit, just because I want the arm to lift up this way. Up to you. It's not a problem. Okay. And keep in mind that the auto fit is gonna like not really work the way you expect it to, you know. So that's fine. It's not a big deal. It's actually beneficial. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Let's do the jaw now. Okay. So this is straightforward. We move it right here, and then we press the down key, and then move it right in that corner. That's it. So we managed to get half of the rig done so far, and we don't have to do much work. Okay, so we just have to rotate on this one to bring it as close as possible, because this is the annoying part right here. It's the pull vector. Pull vectors are annoying. Okay, so let's go ahead and start hiding things, and hold V and move it in place, and then hold V and move it in place. Okay, now that we did that, we can bring that guy back. Barrel. Okay, and here's the thing, there is actually a pull vector reference that we can use, and hopefully that would help. Let's see. So okay, so the thing is with pull vectors are a little bit different, because they want you to kind of like work you know, fix the orientations on the main hip. Okay, so this is how the orientation is for the pull vector for the legs. Okay, that's good. However, the ankle needs to be fixed now. So let's press D. Oops. Let's press D and move things in place. Also move them here. Actually, without pressing D would help. So let's press it like that. Okay, so we might not want to do this, so let's just do it like that first. And yeah, it is what it is. We're gonna have to work on it. Oh, this is not in the correct place. I hate the selection here. It's not really good. Okay, and okay, we could always fix it. Okay. Yeah, pull vectors. Okay. So this is not good, right? So for us to do this, we need to find a way to control this, right? Like that. We need it to be like right here instead. So it's kind of like it's not really working the way I like it to work, but it's fine. So now we just needed to kind of like break the legs a bit just to kind of get what we want, which is not what I wanted, to be honest. But let's just disable this for now. Press the... Why is it not snapping? Okay. Alright. Yeah, definitely not what I'm going for here. Okay, so I still want to stick to this, but it's not letting me. So let's just Control Z a few times. And let's just move this here. Okay. So I'm gonna have to add some rotations to kind of get to where we need to be. And it's not gonna be perfect, but okay. Alright, so we're good here, okay? We can live with that, right? We broke it for a minute, but then we brought it back from the dead. Alright. So that's pretty much it here. Okay. Alright, so this is good, right? Okay, yeah, it looks like it's facing the right way, and we're good. Okay. The good thing about this is actually compatible with other game engines, so it's a straight you know, workflow, and you wouldn't have to work twice. You would still have a control rig and a control rig inside of the engine as well. Okay, so that's something that you should go ahead and mind. All right, so let's see what we could do with skin weight. We have the clusters already, so we could kind of like use an edge workflow in this model, because it's a straight work. Like the model was designed for us to kind of to do just that. So let's remove the selected, add the selected here, and hide. Remove selected, and add selected. Okay. Add selected, remove selected. Why is it not removing? We have the clusters here. We created a few clusters extra that we did not move. And the topology, let's empty this and add selected. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm just basically creating layers to turn things on and off, so I can see my skeleton, my skeleton and my mesh. Okay, so we have like edge loops in this model, which I found it to be very useful for skinning. So not only for creating clusters, but also for skinning. So we have a workflow with the advanced skeleton that allows us to skin based on edge loops. There's so many options, but I think the edge loop skin loops are actually great, very, very great. So the way how this would work is you would select the edge loops that you like to use to be skinned. And you would use them. You could also watch the video. As far as I remember, I think I could use this. Select those skin loops and then bind them, and bam. Let's go ahead and do just that. Let's see if we have other options. This option is a warp option. It creates like a warp box that you can place, which is much easier actually. And then we have this workflow, which is it's a cage, and then yeah, those two are pretty much like the same, like actually these three. So this is basically skinning, and then this one, option 2, is a cage that you add, and then you move the boxes where you think the deformation should happen. And then this one is a smoother version of the cubicle version that kind of gives you like more control. But if you would create that, for example, like right now, let's just save. And then let's create, you would still have to have the skin cage, which is this one. So you still need option 2 to be able to use option 3 kind of thing. And I'll show you how. So it's gonna create a bunch of cubes with like bunch of cubes like you see here. And those are scalable, so you can grab each one of those controller and be like, hey, you know, I want you to be bigger, or I can press D and make it bigger. You know, I can make it bigger, and whatnot. And then you have the deformation option 3, which is better, is basically making the, did we make a mistake? the scale here is negative for some reason. Let's delete, and let's make sure that the orientation is good and the full vector is good. I think it's good. Yeah, it's good. Not sure what was that about. Let's just do auto fit and then rebuild. Okay. So we should have a pretty clean model right now. Okay. And to demonstrate this, we're going to use one of the IKs and we're going to rotate it. Okay. Good. Okay, so how this worked is basically selecting the joints that you like to deform with and select the mesh. This is the old way, you know, which is you select the joints. For example, I want the hips, you know, and basically I want everything in here. So I have like a shortcut that I could say select hold on, select wait, why is my caps lock on? That is not cool. Okay, so I think it's called select I or dash I. No, so let's I. No, okay, how about I? No. What was it called? Alright, select high. Select high, I think without capital blocks. So let's try this again. Select dash high. Yeah. Okay, so no capital letters. Okay, that's cool. So with this selected, I can select the mesh and basically go to my rigging menu. Under skinning, bind skin, I can choose only 4 because Unreal Engine or game engine support up to 4 influence. I'm not sure, I haven't checked for like 10 years, so you need to update that information and let me know. Bind to, join hierarchies, closest distance, blah blah blah, interactive distance, blah, and apply. That's it. That's all it takes, man. And the old way is not as bad as you think. Like, oh, it is as bad. Okay, so what you do is after you're done with this, we're gonna go ahead and use the deformation thing, which is gonna create us some things that I do not know why there's like a black and white area here, but I'm gonna ignore it. I'm gonna just copy the right to the left and then left to right. Okay, copy skin weight. Okay, and let's try that again. Okay, it didn't really do much, so let's see if we could scale those things up. Those are the IKs. Okay. Yeah, definitely this joint right here is not behaving correctly. So we're just gonna fix it manually here. Looks like it's fixed here, but is maybe we could hide the mesh so we can see what's going on here. Yeah, so it's just it needs some tweaking in this area for some reason. Not sure why it is behaving like this, to be honest. I think the plugin, it needs an update, another update. You can press the D letter and probably rotate. No, it's not gonna help. Yeah, but definitely this thing needs to be rotated. So there's an issue here with that workflow. So we're gonna delete it because it's not working. we're gonna use the skin cage, the skin loop workflow, which is I'm glad that at least works, right? Otherwise we're gonna have to clean. Well, to be honest with you, like, don't be in fear of cleaning skin weight, you know, like, I really don't think is a big deal, like, you know, like, you don't really need to be afraid of that. Just has been a long time, but yeah, we could probably do that just to prove a point, because like, if we just bring the tool here, mirror skin weight, and we can just do this and basically mirror it over on the other side, you know, so we can just basically say, you know what, I'm gonna go with a value of 0.8, you know, and I'm just gonna be painting here this chest area, right? And then I'm gonna mirror it over, you know, this is the areas that I don't want it to kind of like deform, this area right here, you know, and kind of like go under the arm and be like, hey, you know what, like, you're not supposed to even move, what are you talking about, you know, and just mirror it over. And now you have like this best looking thing, you know, and then, you know, you're basically saying like, hey, and it's not a big deal, guys, really, like, skin weighting is it's not as scary as you think it is. It's just knowing the tools, like knowing what to click on, is what really scares people. But it's actually really fun. It's like painting, and not even painting, it's easier than painting, because like, you know, imagine like those artists that they have to use Photoshop and whatnot, and you know, they have to do so much more work on like clicking, you know, selecting mask and going back and forth with their tools. Okay. However, we're not going to do that, so we're going to do something better. Okay, so create skin loops. Let's just do some reading here. This deformation option suits best if your model has a topology optimized for deformation. So we do have that, right? Meaning that the model has loops placed where the deformation needs to be, which we do have that. So if you're actually using a clean model like this one, you shouldn't have any problem. First, select an edge loop around the waist. Next, add the selections, blah blah, and click create new skin loops. Well, the interface, I have my own interface, but like, let's use this one and let's talk about it, because this is gonna get some of you confused. We select so first we select an edge loop. So we're gonna go ahead and be like, hey, you know, this is really easy, because you know, this is where the elbow is and it's right in front of us. We could just select those three and then select, you know, the controller, or we can select it from here and then create skin loop. Oops. Yeah, it's right here. Like, it's even right here. Select an edge loop and around the waist and wrist, and next add selection by shift clicking on the FK controller. Then click create skin loop. This is what we did. But I think you would have to do the waist first, maybe. Like, there's like an order for this now. It was based on the controller, but let's just do whatever he's saying just to make sure. Do we need to go to fit mode? No, we don't. Okay. Mirror, create all skin loops. No, we didn't do any of it. Okay, fine. So I think we might have not clicked it correctly, so I'm just gonna try it one more time. create. Alright, so I think they just want an edge loop. Okay, so let's select the edge loop and then go here and select those two, those three actually, and create. Okay. Don't tell me I have to do it with vertices. Really? Okay. That's dumb. It was. I swear to God, it wasn't vertices before, but it's okay. So, and we could only select one edge loop now. Fine. Okay, it's okay. It's not a big deal. It's just new ways of making sure nothing goes wrong. I think they're trying to prevent issues or bugs in the plugin, so maybe that's why they chose it to do it this way. But it was edge loops before. It wasn't vertices. Okay, so we're gonna have to, like, with this workflow, we're gonna have to do a lot. Like, we're gonna have to do like the have side of the character, every FK controllers. We can't skip on any of it. Okay, so it's better if we use the one in the center, because it only allows us to select one. Okay, so we're gonna do this and create. Okay, now we could even select all, and we can see which one we finished and which one we didn't finish yet. Okay, there is an FK controller in the neck, but we cannot see it, you see, because it's inside. Make sure you don't skip on that one. Okay, and the edge loop for the neck is not going to be where the cluster is, it's going to be a little bit higher. Okay, because the cluster is where the joint, but the deformation is above the joint. Okay, and then we make sure we select. Oh man, it's going to be so hard to click on it. Ugh. That's why I hate this. I should have fixed that controller before. Okay, so it's time to fix a controller. So we're gonna select it by deselecting the joint and selecting the vertices. Press F, make sure that it's all selected, and scale it up. Okay, could make it look pretty if you want. Okay, so that's the neck controller. Gonna have to live with it. Okay, let's go to edge mode, actually vertice mode, and let's go with this one. Keep going. Okay, so with this selected, we can now select the controller and create. Okay, select all just to check we're good on this. Okay, where do you like the deformations to happen? It's basically click and select, which is way better than actually having to manually do this yourself, because it's going to be time consuming. So be careful what you wish for. Okay, and then we select the controller, create. Same thing here. Boom, create. Same thing here. Remember, you don't want to like just select the loop that is easier for you to select, is where the deformation needs to happen. Remember? So try to kind of be like don't be afraid of selecting the hard selections more than the easy ones, as long as that your model is going to deform better. Great. Okay, select all, let's check. Looks like we're almost done with the body. Let's do the thighs now. Okay, so the thighs, it's a little tricky. It's basically pick between the bottom corner of the character and the hip, and you pick something in between, okay, where the ass bone is, okay, which is this one. This is where your ass bone is, okay, in this area right here. So you would, if you want, you can select all this thing here, go to the front of the character, deselect half of it until this is the edge loop. Okay, it's gonna be quite tricky though, because you have to it's not gonna accept it, so we'll see. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, we have to go underneath the character. So let's create it. It doesn't accept it. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna have to do some cleanup in that area. Okay, so how about if we deselect this area, okay, and then deselect whatever area that is, and then let's just basically redirect the loop all the way down underneath the character, and hopefully that would work out. It actually did, and we managed to connect back. Okay, and hopefully it would recognize this as a edge loop and it would create it for us. Otherwise we're gonna have to do more work. Create, no, it doesn't. So the best thing to do here at this point is to, wow, okay, not good at all. Okay, so we're gonna have to skip on a few things here. One of them is the thighs, and it's actually for some reason it's going through, so we kind of like, we don't have any support for the cheeks with that topology. You know, that topology is not good for us, but maybe no, we don't have it. Nope. What about this one? Okay, this one worked. Looks like it did work. Nice. Not really. Yeah, we're kind of screwed on that one. Okay, so this might work if we deselected some vertices here. So we're fighting against the process now, but it works. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's because we have an extra vertex. Looks like it's good. This should work. It's an edge loop, but not really. It's too far away from each other. Okay, so we're gonna skip. We're gonna have to do the cleanup here anyway, so it's gonna be good practice for us. All right, so where is the FK controller here? I don't see it. Oh, the IK is on. So good question. Where is the FK? Okay, so let's go ahead and select these two. And switch the FK to IK to FK. And hopefully, no wonder it was not working, is because we never actually selected the thing. We forgot to select the thing. So we're gonna do this and this, and now we're going to deselect this area. I'll go back and clean this area off. This area off. Okay, now that we have done this, if we select the controller and create it, it works. See? Yeah, it was just my fault. I was not paying attention. Sorry. Alright, so vertices, let's do the next one, and G. There's no G. Okay. Okay. This one where the bone is. And create. So is this one. And we're done with this. So, oh, what? Okay. I love the topology of that character. He's so clean. He's not bad. Like, look at how many edge loops we managed to select. It's a very clean model. Okay. So with this, we're able to select all the edge loops that we need, but we're missing a few more. We're missing the neck area, which we're gonna do right now. I don't see the controller or the FK controller for the neck, even though like it should be the head FK controller. That's the eyes. Yeah, the head is up here. Okay, no problem. So even though the head is up here, I don't like it to be up here. And if we select it, we're gonna have to, man, we're gonna have to like, that's not good. Okay, so let's just select it individually and kind of move it in place here. Make it a little bit bigger, okay, and unique. Maybe also move it forward a bit. Okay, so that should be the head controller, and that is actually not here. It's actually going to be where the neck area, because of course you can't twist your head unless you're unique. Then you are a special little guy. Okay, so we're gonna actually do this here, and then we're gonna select this one and create skin cluster. Yeah, those are actually skin clusters. I'm sorry, I spoiled the whole thing. Those are actually skin clusters that are used, like they will eventually convert into skin clusters, and then the skin clusters are used to rig, to create the skin weight location, you know, for you. Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, so we have actually another controller right here, but is also inside of the hand. Really? Maybe I can select this. Let's see if I'm lucky. Is it selected? Yeah, it is. Let's go ahead and scale it up. And more up. Now we can select it. Okay. So the skin cluster for the thumb, I'm gonna need it starting from here. However, I can't, so. Oh, that's not good. It's poly group here. Topology. Not good in that area. It's only starting from here. I'm gonna have to do this manually, otherwise it's gonna look weird. So look, can we hide the joints? Because I can't see from them. Okay, so we're gonna start from here. Okay, and then we select this and create cluster, and it's a selection, but it's gonna convert it to a cluster, and we're gonna do this one starting from here. Okay. That's good enough. This one, there's edge loops that are made for you, so you can feel free to follow them. And that's it. This one doesn't move. This one is just where it's aiming. So we're done with the thumb. So the only thing that you're going to struggle with is creating the selections for the fingers, because there's too many of them. But after that, the whole rig is made and the clothes is going to be pretty easy. So it's a 1 hour work thing, you know, which is like, if you compare it to how much it would take you to create a rig from scratch, okay, way longer, okay, so be grateful. Alright, so let's see here. This is great, but it's gonna deform weird. We need it from here, and we're gonna have no choice but to select always the first beginning of the thing is gonna be weird. So this is gonna be a little bit weird because we're not actually picking the edge in between this time. We might have to, yeah, we might have to choose a different, just because. Okay. Can we collapse this because it's confusing sometimes? Oh no, not this one. Yeah, this one and this one, and that's it. So we could know what we're working with. Okay, so we made that weird looking edge loop, but then we can smooth it later. You see the locations of the thing here is not very good. So the thing is about skinning clusters is that I think if you toggle, you would lose your selection. Let's try. So hopefully we don't, because if we do, then it's gonna be not very good. Okay, so the thing is, the placements of this, it's I forgot, like the fingers are too big. Like, can we change the size? Why is it okay, so they were too big, so it was hard for me to tell where the thing is. Okay, so let's select that joint, move it up a bit like that, and then press the down key, move it up, press the down key, move it up, press the down key, and move it up. As long as that you're in object mode and you can still see the z-axis pointing the correct way, just make sure that autofit is turned on and reset. Actually, okay. The x-axis is not oriented correctly here. It should be pointing down. Yeah. Oh my god, I was wondering what's going on. They have like a freaking checkbox that messes everything up for me. I was gonna be very, very disappointed. Okay, so yeah, don't check this box ever. That scared the heck of everything, because I would not use this plugin if that was the case. The orientation is wrong, but it was my fault. Okay. So let's just point it down a bit, go down. Remember, we are going for, maybe showing the wireframe is not such a bad idea. Okay, because that's how it should be actually. See how that is? And I think it's good enough. It's not bad. If you want to have like a pool vector, like kind of like a human look to it, you just take that down a bit. Take that one up, like up, and then rotate it, and then rotate it again. That would give it that natural look. Whenever you close your because that's playing with the axes, like that value that I was talking about earlier. Those are gonna stay. They're not going anywhere. Okay, so we're gonna have to rebuild. Hopefully it would remember the selection. As far as I'm aware, it does. But you never know, because this is a different update to this plugin, and this plugin updates like almost every month since 2012. You see, like we lost the head and we lost the neck controller. That's the problem with this plugin, it doesn't remember things like that. So let's see, did we lose the skin cluster? Select all, and it didn't. Thank God. Lots of improvement happened here. Alright, so let's see here. This edge, this is gonna be really cool. Yeah, edge does work. It's just it wasn't working for me when I tried earlier. Okay, let's do the easy ones and leave the hard one for later. Create. Yeah, create. Oh shit, I'm not even looking at the chat, sorry. Yeah. I love how I get like a 1,000 view, you know, and then 40 hours watch per week, you know. but not a single follow. So it's just, it tells me so much about like other developers, to be honest. They're not very supportive. Don't know why that is, but it's okay. We're not teaching for the like. You can keep your like. I really don't care. I just want you to learn. That's what I really care about. I swear. That's what I care about. Alright, so pay attention. Let's go back to this. Okay, we're almost done here. This is gonna be so much easier. So we have edges, we have vertices, you know, which is great. It doesn't really matter because whether you have vertices or edges, in the end it's gonna work out the way it should. And I wish there was a better way to do this, but there isn't, so we're gonna have to go per vertice, kind of, or we could even do edges and do something like that. Let's press F on that to see it. Man, I hate this. And you cannot even unselect. Okay, so we're sticking with the vertices. So we're gonna actually do it from here, there, there. Boom, 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 boom. And boom, boom. Actually, could actually, no. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. We were close though. Okay, that was an easy one. So let's select this and create. Oh, come on, I cannot afford selecting you again. Or did we miss anything? There's W. No, we're good. Yeah, I think we just forgot to select this. Create. So it's not compatible. Okay, that sucks. Okay, so we're getting smarter here on how to select the edge loop. Okay. But really, like, those two fingers are gonna be so annoying because like they don't have like an area where I can easily pick it from. So I'm just gonna follow what I did with the other one, which is doing this basically. Okay. Okay, and bam. Lucky. Okay. Hope the music is not too loud. I haven't even checked on the video. No. Check on the video really quick just to make sure the music's not too loud. Okay, so we're back at this and it looks like we have one more finger Let's do it and create. Okay, so select all. We have all fingers, wrist, elbow, shoulder, neck, head, spine, and thigh, hips, and thighs, and knees, ankle, and feet. We're good. We are good. Select object to deform. Then so okay, so the object mode, and let's bind. Hopefully it doesn't crash on us. Should have saved first. Let's just give it a minute before we start moving anything. Okay, it looks like we did something. Still doing, right? It's a huge operation here. That's why you should do it only to the body first. Don't do any clothes or anything like that. There's another way. There's something that we're going to do to the clothes right after. Save. And then we're gonna test that case. And it did not work at all. Okay. Not really what I was expecting here. It really destroyed the skin weight. I think it's because we already had skin weight assigned. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna unbind. Okay. And remember, there's no history that will be kept here. Let's just select it and then bind. It's gonna work better because like the first time it didn't work because we already had skin binded with a different method. Okay. So this one was like trying to override and some stuff went wrong in the process. That happens. At least we did save, so if anything goes wrong we could optimize it. We could even do it manually if the tools didn't really help us. Not a big deal. I mean, the time that took us to actually create those edge loops, I would have been done with skin weighting. But you know, like sometimes it's easier to let the system do things for you. It helps you, you know, not think about like, oh, did I do it right or did I do it wrong, or if I missed anything. This should work. So with this workflow, the option 4, you don't really need to have skin binding at all because the whole process would happen for you. So you shouldn't be doing this twice. Otherwise things might go wrong, just like what happened today with us. Okay, let's try it out. Hopefully it did work. It doesn't. Okay, so let's do a few things here. Okay, so you could even see the skin binding. Maybe we didn't do the other side. Is there a way we could mirror? Yeah, it's supposed to mirror. You see, like edge loops like this is supposed to mirror, but it's not mirroring. So I'm gonna do something. Yeah, I think it's because we're using vertices. We tried to do edge loops in the beginning and it didn't work, so I think we're gonna have to undo the selections and then do edges instead of vertices to mirror them. Anything that has edge loops is gonna be mirrored over, but vertices don't mirror. We can probably select all edges and then convert them to edges instead of vertices. Yeah, see? I had a feeling. Okay. So here's a cool way of doing this. We select all that and then we go to modify, convert vertices, polygons. Where is the selection? To edges. Okay, so press G. Selects the whole thing. How stupid is that? Unbelievable. Yeah, I think edge loop. No, edge ring. Not even. Continue with edge. Okay, so what if we continue with edge? Oh, come on. Yeah, that's perfect. Continue with edge. What? Yeah, the selection group is not really helping. So Yeah, that just happened. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to do a few things here to get this done. I'll rebuild. Let's try this just to make sure that the mirroring is working. If it's not working, then there's an issue with the plugin. You might need to update it. Last time I updated it, it was like 2 weeks ago. So create is supposed to create it on the other side. It's not working. So the mirroring is not even working. The right is created. The right is created, see? Right, left created. Okay, so the skin cluster works. Okay, let's do something simple and try it out first before we take it too advanced here. We have an edge loop and edge loop. You cannot select two. Okay, so that's rule number one. We can't select two. And it keeps tricking us and going to vertex mode. I don't know why. And then create. It should mirror it. So let's make sure that it did create it for the left and the right elbow. Okay. And same thing here. Yep. Create. Okay, so with this, let's just do the neck, or let's just try it like that and bind it just with shoulders and see if that works. So rigging usually is it's a 2-day thing. You could do it in 2 hours, but like, you know, for the clothes and everything to be set up and to set up your ID maps and set up your rig control, and it's a process. So it's a 2-day job. You can rush and have it like, you know, funky looking inside of the engine, which is going to take you longer to clean up, or you can set up like a clean setup for yourself, so you can take it straight to the engine with like all the textures and materials set up for it and whatnot. This is it. This is how you get this done, and that way you can come back again to Maya and apply some effect to the animations, make it look realistic, add a backpack, add some weapons, you know, things like that. We've been streaming for 2 hours and we haven't really finished yet, and we just basically, I had like a scene that is already prepared for you guys, which is like it had the color ID set up, it had all the reference set up. Yeah, I had like everything prepared in my head. I was gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go over this and this and this, but that's not usually the case. There's like way more work. And also like a process like this, like there's also like funky tools. Like this plugin had like issues with the cage So this is what have we experienced with. So like really, like if you would create the rig and skin weight it yourself, it will take a little bit longer, but it would avoid, like, because like we're always trying to automate process, but usually that's not the case. It becomes worse. Sometimes it's not the best thing to do. But you'll see right now, you'll see what would happen. Like if we got the elbow to deform, like not the whole hand, but maybe the hands is not going to be skin weighted correctly, or the chest, but like the elbow should perform good. If the elbow performed good, then we're on the right track here. You see how it says select for the skin cluster? So it created like a skin cluster to build off of, and it's doing that right now. It is a big operation, but like you should see the amount of work that is being handled right now just to get you this done automated. It's not easy at all. Oh, okay, so if we grab the elbow, just pay attention to the elbow only, and now we have like somehow like the characters split in half, which is not good at all, right? Right. Is that double skin weight, or is that like half of the character being pulled off? That's cool. Alright, so let's see what we had before this. Actually, no, let's unbind again. So let's unbind. That's the best thing to do here at this point. The skin loops and the skin weight, we can keep, like all that stuff is good. As long as that you unbind it, like you have no history. You could even delete history if you want. Cut up cup and the skin loops, they're still gonna show up. No, they're not gonna show up. So they're kind of useless at this point because the history has been deleted. Let's make sure that we're still referencing this like that. Okay, and delete this subfolder. Now you're back to where you started. Okay. All right. To be honest with you, you know, based on the automated tools, it's not really working in our favor right now. So let's try the cage method, and if that doesn't work, we can just, clean it up manually, let's just go ahead and do that right now. So we grab these boxes right here, those green ones, especially the one in the neck area. There's 2 of them. Okay, so there's like 2 of them, and we can scale it up. Okay, and then go back in there. And then grab this one. Do the same thing. Okay. And you should leave it like that, but just rotate it a bit. Give it like that rotation. And then the head is gonna have another one. Let's just make this as big as possible to cover the whole head area, so we don't have to skin weight the head. And lift it up. Like that. Okay. You could even make it like this. Okay. And then you could like use those tools maybe to help us, do things. It looks like it's fixed now. For some reason we had like some bad orientation, and once we fix the finger, it's fixed now. It's gonna be much easier this way. We could also mirror. So if we say left to right, actually use the other way around, right to left. This is right character, not right us. And then we can grab this one, make it bigger. make sure that we take this a little bit higher. Okay, otherwise we're gonna have like a weird thing here going on. Okay, so let's make sure that if we could grab this area and rotate it, and or maybe not even rotate it, just scale it up and wider, and yeah, kind of like fight against it, fight against the power. Okay, and that should be reasonable. Also, let's just use those skin cage. They're pretty cool, right? Much easier to use than the other skin loop stuff. We just had bad orientation because of that weird unneeded orientation that we did earlier. It was a mistake. Okay, we could like now move from right to left and start working with the left side so we don't make mistakes. It's nice to just go above and beyond because you're really not gonna care, and then also do the same thing here. The hell? Yeah, I almost thought about like just, there is one missing from the legs. Oh, this is the one. Okay, just we're missing this one. Okay, and that should be good enough even. Okay, so it looks like we have some bad orientation here too. So before we go ahead, let's fix them, because it's very obvious that we have some bad orientation. We're not going to delete everything like we did before, but we're going to hide it. Okay, so we're just going to hide the skin cage, and then we're going to come in here and find out why this orientation is bad. Okay, show the pull vector, and hopefully we don't have to have that issue anymore. We shouldn't have any rotation on this, and just to make sure that this is getting updated, we're gonna just rotate it a bit. It should update automatically, but it looks like it's not updating. So we're gonna change it to word match, and then we'll change it back just to kind of like update now, kind of. And hopefully that works. It looks like it did. So we shouldn't be getting any weird result here. And just to prove a point, we're just gonna move this and update again, and then rebuild. You see like how this is rotating this way? You should always pay attention to your orientation. Usually your curves is based on your orientation, especially your control. Yeah, this one is good. It's not bad. It's actually supposed to be this one. Let's go ahead and continue, and hopefully okay, so it's definitely something is wrong with this, and if we delete it, let's delete it. Oops. Delete the whole thing and recreate it, and if it does the same thing, we have to like find out what's going on with the legs at this point. Maybe zero out all the rotation channels on the orientation of the joints. Yeah, so it works now, it looks like. So it was just a bug. Oh no, it's not, it's still not working. So let's toggle and find out what's going on with this. We could find out what's going on by orientation. Just zero out the orientation. Okay, just zero them out, you don't need them. And then the same thing here, make sure that there's no rotations on any of the channel. Here as well, like we could start like breaking things. Like I said, those orientation could be a problem. So sometimes you would need to kind of, if we just zero out everything and then hold the key and just move it forward, then we know for sure that we're not rotating anything. Same thing here, zero out all this and zero out the location for it and just move it down and forward. Okay, yeah, so we're object based, so it's based on the rotations of this one, which is good. I think this is good enough. Let's check out the pool vector and let's go ahead and rebuild. We might have to orient again because I don't think it's gonna update on its own, so we still have to retoggle again and rebuild orientation because it didn't update. So toggle again, update now. You see how the x-axis is pointing forward on all these, you know, so that is a good sign. And rebuild. We should not, like, you see the value is much smaller this time and there is no preferred angle at all. The preferred angle could really harm us. Let's also check the toggle again and let's check this one. Does it have preferred angles? No. Does this one? No. Okay, then we're good. You see? Now if we untoggle and create this again, we should be able to get a better result. If not, again, like this is a very odd situation here. We should be getting this, but if for some reason it's being scaled, okay, never mind. It's working right now. So playing with that value, just making like, is a very good thing that we had faced that issue. Otherwise we wouldn't even know what's going on if something like this happened to us, but I'm gladly that it was me. All right, okay, so let's just keep doing this. We could also move them in place. We don't have to actually stick. This one doesn't care about orientation. This is where the skin weight should be looking at, you know. So it's not really necessary for us to follow. Actually, matter of fact, we should be doing exactly the opposite of that. Yeah, we should not be following a workflow here. The orientation of the joint, we should be making our own rotation and stuff to make it better. Okay, so this is how that would look like, and we can keep going. Hopefully this is the last time we have to do this. Again, make it as bigger as you need to, as long as that you're covering the whole feet. Don't go to the other side, just cover the feet all the way in here and let the system figure out the rest. Okay. Okay, we can grab all three of them. And this one right here, let's grab it and let's scale them both up. We could scale this one a little bit bigger. Okay. Okay, we need to also scale it this way to cover as much as we can from the shoulder. and it looks weird, but it's gonna look right. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger, but don't, you know, bypass the other. We're gonna do some cleanup here. That's not a problem. We could also rotate if we need to. Like rotations is usually a good thing. So we could also even move things. Maybe moving is not as good as it should. But yeah, that thing is definitely tight. Like twisted up. So we could look at the channels, zero out the rotation. That did not help. Okay. So at this point, because we're gonna move from right to left. Okay, let's leave it like that. And keep scaling things up. Okay, again. And then the fingers are really not gonna be a big deal because you're gonna still have to clean them up anyways. So no matter how hard you try on that one, you're never gonna get this one right. Okay, right to left, and that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and add that secondary deformations just to see how things are looking. We could probably scale this down a bit. We could like make it look like a Hulk. We could always do this, more of that, and then mirror to cover more, you know. And it should figure this out on its own. We don't have to do this a lot. Yeah, and then I think we did warp it. Option 3, what is warping? Oh, right. So once you have that set up, let's go ahead and do the head. Okay, we could always move this up, and that way we can cover the whole head. You should not cover the whole head. You should cover everything except the mouth, but there's no way for us to manage this. It's very, still gonna have to do this manually. So let's cover the whole head. Yeah, there's no way to do this. And that's pretty much it. Now let's save. Okay, and let's try this again. So we're gonna disable the mesh, everything except our mesh, and select that mesh, and warp selected mesh, I think. Let's go ahead and test. Did we skin? Actually, no, we didn't. Okay, so skin cluster. Very close. That's not bad, right? But why do we have two meshes in here? Cut up. Okay, I'm not sure how that got in here, but this is definitely not something we want. So we selected the wrong mesh, so we're gonna have to do this again. Okay, So now we have like a little bit more controls just in case we need, right? Some FK controllers here. Not sure why I was getting some FK controllers here. Okay, so that's pretty much it. You create this and then we're gonna warp at this point. So first of all, let's click on the character, make sure that we're selecting our reference, copy the skin weight, and then deform with selected. We should be able to we're getting double transform. Why? That's very odd. Weird. Okay, scan, unbind. Huh? The hell? That worked. Did we press unbind or bind? Okay, so bind, we're good. Create, copy weight, and we should be able to get that issue. So we just copied the weight. Really, we didn't do a lot here, but it's not as good as you think it is. So I just wanted to prove a point that those tools are freaking beautiful. So instead, what you could do, just come in and just paint everything manually, and that's what I was trying to say earlier, is that it doesn't really take much work here to do this. So you just kind of like need to know what you're looking for here. Chest, neck area. Let's just make sure that the neck area is all covered, you know. And then the head is fully covered with this. Try to go as much as possible. You can do the mouth later, you know. Not really a big deal. Because no matter what you do, you still have to clean up, right? Like the cleanup is just how rigging is. I know there's a lot of tools out there, but they're built on one mesh, right? So you don't want to, and then they're using something called the blend shapes to kind of give you a different character, but the skeleton is not really is being scaled at this point. So let's mirror things over, right? And then we're gonna kind of like, you know, try to do our best here, but as quick as possible. You can close this now. The neck area shouldn't have anything here. No, the neck area should be just the neck area. And then mirror. Shouldn't have any control over the chest or the back. The chest area should be smooth. We should not even have anything here, so we need to go to this one and kind of like apply some kind of stable rotation here. We're gonna have to lower that value eventually, but this is just to kind of like understand our lines, and then we could like smooth it later, you know. We could also use values instead to make sure that the left side doesn't affect the right side, you know, and that way we have that line for us already. That's great. It's gonna definitely pay off. Okay, and then we can go here. We can add values, but like I really don't care at this point because I know for sure I need to do some cleanup first. So I'm like kind of like taking all the values to begin with. And we could use the B to scale our brush down and go over here. And then we can smooth that. Remember, like, the more you add value, you're stealing that value from the other joints. So the other joints is now no longer the main joint that needs to be focused in that area. You have to set focus points. I know people, they say don't use like one value, but to be honest with you, it saves you time from like playing back and forth between joints and fighting with your joints. You need to like set a control point, you know, where the rotation is going to happen. That way, like if you use the smooth brush, it would know where it needs to move your skin weighting to. So that is something that you should be aware of. Okay. Make sure you don't touch the butt. All right. Yeah, this is great. This is not bad. It's starting to actually even fix itself on its own, just because we're kind of using stiff values in locations like this. You don't want to have like a lot of smoothness here. You want to have like kind of a flat green value, because if you're like shooting with a gun, it's gonna look really funny. So you want to kind of have like that stiff look. You don't have an option to kind of smooth that out. So that's how that would look like. And then index, smooth. And now that you actually have this, when you smooth, the value are not going to go too far. You see? The values are not going to go too far, but just pay attention here, because that's the one that is going to give you all the problems. And try not to use the, you know, the red. Don't place too much red, and stay away from the other fingers as much as possible. Gonna make it look nice when you're shooting. It's better to actually stream things like this, so that way you don't miss anything. You feel like there's something that you don't know or you missed of the whole process, rather than making a 5-minute video and having you guess what to do next. So I found those videos going to be very useful later on. Alright. The thumb is great, looks very nice. It's controlling some of the rest, but we could easily clean that up. Yeah. Now that we actually did that, we are gonna have so much like you see like how I kind of like forced it to pay attention to this area only. Is gonna help me fix any other issues from all the other indexes that are gonna be fighting over here. Yeah, you don't need to do much here. Let's check all the other indexes. We might not have to do much. Make sure that we're not getting values outside of the hand area, because those are the ones that usually escape, but it looks like Maya did a great job on that new version. I feel a lot of improvements in the program, not like before. Usually Maya was like kind of not really being updated as often as other programs, but it is an advanced software, unlike any other, no doubts. Yeah, so we just kind of like cleaned up the hand, and with this we could now smooth things down to the some area. I think this is good. Yeah, and just to check, you know, that's how the fingers is gonna behave. You could always like come back and just go one after the other. So thumb, boom, boom, boom. Okay, and the rest, you know, and we're good like that. Let's do elbow. Yeah, shoulders and shoulders. Okay, so shoulders, here's the thing, like when you lift this up, this is not going to be controlled, so you kind of want to mix like a 0.5 here. So we're going to do 0.5. This is going to be a little bit tricky, but that's the only part that we're ever going to use the value 0.5 is, and make the brush a little bit smaller and kind of go over that area just slightly, you know, make sure that you're very stable on that 0.5 in that area specifically. It does help a lot. We're gonna still smooth it, but not from here. We're gonna smooth it from here. Okay, so we're gonna smooth back in that value. You know, we're just smoothing in the value at this point to kind of like give it that extra control. And we're gonna add back that value that we lost in that area. You know, and we're just gonna stick to the smoothness. And I'll show you like how this is gonna help us later on. Okay, back to 1. Let's because it does go crazy. The program does not like to use like a 0.5. It doesn't know where to take the skin, like the vertices, and that's why a lot of people give up on skin weighting, because it becomes very tedious process. Okay, you want to like have the chest area be in full control of this as much as possible. And it does make it look kind of cool, you know, and you're gonna have to decide what area moves and what area don't. All the red ones are not going to move, so anything that is red in that area is not going to move. And chests don't move, they just kind of bend a bit, so you should have like a 0.5 here, but then you're going to have to decide which area is going to do that, which in our case, usually like when you bend the neck, you want like have like a 0.2. So the 0.2 controlling this section, you know, so this section is going to have like a 0.2, you know, but not too much though, like kind of like decide to kill it at any point here. Mirroring would help a lot. Okay, and then you have the this is the neck. The chest area is orange at this point. Okay, you see like you don't really have a lot of control in this area anyways, because when you bend this over, you want to have like kind of like the 0.5 here, like, so the neck is gonna have 0.2 maybe all the way down here, you know, but then, you know, you're gonna have that weird result. So just a 0.1 is good enough in this area, just to kind of like have it there, but it's not really necessary. Not gonna make a lot of difference, but it does help though. Like, so let's say for example we grab this and we rotate it. You see how like that kind of like does this now? So it's up to you. And the neck will not rotate like this. You would have to grab the controller, because we have like a controller now that does things for us. I keep doing this, but like it just doesn't wanna. As long as that we keep rebuilding, the controllers will never stay. Okay. So if we want to rotate the neck, there's gonna be something like this. So you might want to like rotate it, you know, and then come back in here, use the skin weight and smooth things, and decide where to smooth it to. So you might want to come back in here and smooth back the value. This is how it looks like with a stiffness view. It's gonna maintain the look of that. And then if you are in here and then you add this, this is what you get. So, and then the shoulder, for example, like if you did the right shoulder here and you kind of like smooth, if things are not gonna smooth with you the way you expect, especially if you're in a non-pose area, can't really expect too much here. So what you do, if you want to have like a very clean deformation here, I would just use fixed value of 0.5 in this area. Hold on a second, I have to go back to paste. Okay, so yeah, 0.5. So if you did like a 0.5 and you just went over that entire area, and then you come back to that joint and then you did a 0.5, you could like bring this weird result down a bit and then apply here to get that effect as good as possible. I mean, this is too much of course, but like, yeah. And then come back to that controller and rotate it the other way. Kind of see how things are looking. You see like how the mesh kind of like went crazy at this point. You can like go back and forth and clean things up. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's what you're gonna get from skin weighting anyways, without any correct shapes. So you're not gonna do like something magical here, like it's not gonna get better, it's just gonna get worse. From this point forward, like you're gonna have to like decide where you need it to collapse. You're not really going to make it look realistic. You're just deciding on which part you want it to collapse and which part you don't want it to collapse. Like, that's what you're going to be making decisions on. Okay, and let's keep going. It looks like we're coming to that area where like we're going to have a very very hard challenge here to get the feet to look good, but we might be lucky. We'll see. I think the skin weight is working to our favor. Okay, I usually like to apply a 0.5 to just begin with and give the character an underwear. So an underwear of skin weight. So we do this right here. Okay. This is the underwear effect. Okay. And just mirror it. And move it a bit. Yeah, you don't want to have a lot of deformations on the hips area because of the pants, you know, that he's wearing. So you're gonna have to decide where you want this to be. This is what I like to have. If he lifts his legs, you need to kind of like do a very cool transition here, which you're gonna have to like paint it manually. So you're gonna go to the thighs, and the thighs is not very good here. The thighs is also gonna have a starting point like around this area. So let's make the brush a little bit bigger to clean this up. We're gonna mix them up with this joint, but just wait for it. We have to like let the system know how to blend between those two. We're gonna come back with a 0.5 and kind of go over the entire thing here. That's what that joint is for anyways. Oh, this is what we got so far, right? Which is flat skin weighting. Nothing's wrong here. We're gonna mirror that just to make sure that we get that nice effect. Why are we not getting it to behave correctly here? That's because this guy here okay, let's just do this. Okay. Okay, and remember, like when we mirror, is gonna come back, so we have to still kind of like come back and be like, you know what, since you don't want to take it, let me have it as a root. And that's not good though, so because we want to come back here and bring that back, you know, and remove this from here. You see, so we're basically letting them know the root, like, go as far as you want, just don't cross me. No, and we can now come back here and do some 0.5 value. So this is the time that we do 0.5. And we kind of like do it that way. And then come back to 0. And then, oh shit. Let's smooth things down here. We actually need to remove this area and bring it back to root. So if it doesn't give us, if it doesn't let us have it, we're gonna force it, because that's the part that we need to like kind of force. Anything that we force here is ours. Bring the yellow back in, brush a little bit bigger, and kind of like bring the yellow down, not the green, not the red. And now that we're smoothing this on this side of the mesh, when we mirror, things are gonna look better. So when we lift our legs up, it's gonna look something like this. If we turn off the freaking eye case. Okay, so let's lift it up, check it out. This is what we get. It looks kind of okay. We bring it back down and continue the cleaning. Okay, so on the thighs we have some control that is actually touching this side. We don't know why it doesn't want to give up on that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something pretty cool. Select this mesh, go to vertice mode, and then front view, isolate, select, and then select everything on the left side. Okay, everything on the left side. Okay. Let's make sure that we stay one edge before. So we're not really talking about like the one in the center, but we're talking about like right before the center, which is not even this one. So let's go ahead and do this again. It's going to be something like that. Okay. Yeah, we're there. That's good. And last but not least is this one. Okay, so everything on this left side of the character, like this is the left side of the character. The left side of the character, we don't want it to be related to anything to do with the right side of the character, and vice versa. So we're gonna go to General Component Editor, which is very useful. I'm sorry, not component editor. Yeah, component editor. Okay, so component editor, this is the left side of the character. Okay, this is the left side of the character. So anything to do with like hip right, for example. So this is hip right. It should be zeroed out. Hip right part 1, hip part 3, anything that has an R in it. We could even like, I wish we could like filter this. Eventually we can, but not now. Maya did not create that for us yet. Okay, so anything to do with R, like neck R, that's knee. The ankle, ankle is 0. Okay, so you see like how this is gonna help us clean things up. Not too much to do anyways, just few. And unless we missed anything, we're good. So let's put this to the side because we're gonna need it, and also this one. Now we need to do the same thing, but we're not gonna select the middle edge. So let's deselect this part, and we should, if we're lucky, yeah, if we're lucky, we're not that lucky. Okay, so we should be able to have all the necessary edges selected. And we do, not really. Okay, that's good, right? So this time we're gonna do left. Anything to do with left ankle, 0, and left hip, 0, hip, left, 0. Basically I'm only looking at the L's, so I'm not even reading anything, just looking for L's. No more L's? Okay, no more L's. Okay, we're good. So now that if we go back to object mode, and check out our rig, we're gonna have somewhat, better deformation here. Of course, like that rough value that we used is messing with us, but that's fine. We're gonna bring that back. We're also having the controllers here. We have a double transformation. Okay, we're gonna have to look into that. Only on the arm though. The legs, let's test it. Yeah. So anything with eye case is messing with us. So FK IK off. Would that make a difference? No. But the skin weight is correct. It's just for some reason it's not doing what it should. Okay, no problem. Could always unbind it, but we could like take the skin weight. The skin weight is good now. We don't have to do it again. It's good. It's been 3 hours. We still have to do more work. I'm not gonna be able to divide this video like this, so I'm gonna stop. I will work on cleaning things up as far as like skin weight and whatnot, and then we'll come back at this so that way when I cut the video for like a short